name is Tony, and I'm with Resolution Solutions. We're a training company that helps victim advocates and families through communication coaching and mediation. This video was created in part through the Crime Victim Restitution Fund, which was created by the Violence Against Women's Act. Our mission is to help women who have been the victim of violent crimes. The fact that you're seeing this means that you are in the process of rebuilding and participating in the process of creating a better future for yourself. I'm sorry, so sorry for what you've been through. I wish we could change it, but the most we can offer is to give you the best possible chance at a life that is the result of your choices and your efforts. There are numerous agencies and programs designed to help you make the transition from victim to survivor. They're staffed with professionals and volunteers dedicated to this mission, and we're here today to help you make the most of these opportunities by becoming your own advocate and by being the best advocate you can be. It's not as hard as it sounds. As your own advocate, you don't have to have all the answers. All that's really needed are some strategies to help you do the best you can. And here's the first strategy. Take care of yourself. You've been through a lot, and you need to take time to heal. Ask for help if you need that. Now let's talk about what self-advocacy actually is. It's an individual's ability to effectively communicate your own interests, desires, needs, and rights. It involves making informed decisions and taking responsibility for those decisions. It's important because it allows you to be able to ask for what you want or need by helping you build better communication skills. It also helps to create healthier relationships that are built on mutual respect and self-sufficiency. With self-advocacy skills, you're going to have an easier time getting the support you need. Self-advocacy will give you more control and direction in your life. Learning to self-advocate will allow you to set the goals you want and to know how to make plans and get the help you need to achieve them. We'll start with where you are right now, what you bring to the process, and we'll help you make the most of whatever that is. A quick note, whatever it is, it's fine. It's enough to get started. You'll get better as you go along, but nobody expects you to be at your best right now. Just be the best you can. That starts with a quick self-assessment. What are your strengths right now? What are your exact needs? Are they physical needs, emotional, financial, security needs? What responsibilities do you have that you need help with? Now let's look at your exact goals. Be specific here. I need to be able to do such and such by such and such a date. Look at your biggest external obstacle. In other words, something you need from someone else in order to make the things happen that you need to happen. Your biggest internal obstacle, your own fear, your own limitation. There are limitations imposed upon you or habits or skills, and you can address them intentionally. Take stock of what about you will be helpful. What are your strengths right now? What are the things you do really well? Advocacy is like a negotiation for your rights. A good negotiation is when both sides win, not when there's a winner and a loser. One big difference here is that all the parties are on the same side, making sure you get the tools and resources you need to be well. The only point of negotiation is that the agency's resources may be limited. Your task then is to align your needs with the options that are available. It's also similar to a job interview. You want to be prepared and communicate in terms of what works for everybody. We recommend the SHARE process. Sit up straight, have a pleasant tone of voice, activate your thinking, remind yourself to pay attention, participate, and compare ideas. And relax. Try not to look uptight. Remind yourself to keep calm. Breathing. Intentional deep breaths help. We tend to hold our breath when we're anxious, and this helps a lot in all kinds of situations. Also, engage in eye contact. I'd encourage you to do this over the phone as well. When you're talking to someone, you can tell whether they're into the conversation or not, and so can the people that you'll be dealing with. So there's some self-advocacy characteristics, one of which is perspective. So to be a good advocate for yourself, try to see the other person's perspective. It helps a lot. There may be times when you feel like you're just a number, when your social worker have lost track of what you're going through. These are the times to see them as human and have some understanding of how difficult their job can be. Imagine how tough it would be to have a job where you deal with other people's problems and crises all day long. You may already be frustrated with the process when you walk into their office, but loud and angry won't get the results you're looking for. You catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Another characteristic is self-awareness. Just know, what were your hopes and dreams before the trauma, before this terrible thing happened to you? And importantly, what can they be now? Did you have good memories of riding horses as a kid? Just as an example, you might live in an apartment and you can't get a horse, but if that's important to you, it might be realistic to find a stable where you can ride occasionally. Did reading bring you peace? Maybe this is the time to revisit the classics or some old books that you're familiar with. Maybe it's even time to start writing your own book. Going back to school is common after trauma. Many people, when they feel like they can, take this awful, life-changing thing and use it to rebuild their lives in the way they want it. Having been torn down completely, you now have a world of choices in front of you. Don't let someone else, them, whoever they are, tell you or decide for you what your future should look like. Take some time just to heal and to rebuild. There's no rush to make the big, long-term life decisions right now. Listen to opinions, but remember that the choices are yours. So are the consequences. But even mistakes are a valuable learning tool. So give yourself permission to make mistakes. Knowing that you will have grace and forgiveness for yourself can make you incredibly brave. Journaling every day is a great habit to get into for a great many reasons. One, though, is that it may reveal patterns to you. Maybe identify something that you really love enough to pursue full time. This is also the time to take a hard, honest look at yourself and eliminate any self-defeating behaviors, any bad habits or addictions or relationships that are bad for you. The coolest car in the whole world is not going anywhere with flat tires, so make sure you do the maintenance you need to do. All of it together is this: instead of life happening to you, be proactive. Programs and systems are in place for the exact purpose of helping you. So your goal then is to clearly assess your needs and wants and interests and seek out the agency most likely to help. And know this, in your heart of hearts, know it, that you are unique and valuable and very much worth the effort. Understand that it's probably going to be a process that takes a while. It's not like TV where all the problems in the world are solved in 1 hour with 5 commercial breaks for the good life. And bring your best self to every meeting and every phone call. How do you bring your best self? What do we mean by that? Get a good night's sleep. Wear comfortable professional clothes. Take care of your body. Stay hydrated, eat well, get plenty of rest and exercise. Again, just do your best here. You don't have to start running marathons to make this happen, but any improvement matters. You're a partner in the process, and being a reliable partner makes the effort that others make on your behalf far more effective. Another self-advocacy characteristic are affirmations. Give yourself 5 affirmations every morning. Just saying nice things about yourself to yourself. It can be tough to start using these if you don't use them already, but they can be very powerful. Even if you don't believe in the process at first, please give it a try for a few days or a week or so. Say them out loud and let them work. Here's some suggestions. What you can tell yourself in the mirror or as you're getting ready in the morning: what happened to me is not my fault. Or, I can influence my circumstances. My wellness is important. I've made some progress, and I'll make a little more today. I will forgive myself for mistakes, learn from them, and move on. Being as well and as whole as you can be is, of course, in your best interest, but also your family, your community, everyone benefits around you, your coworkers. Depending on what you are self-advocating for, you can do things like problem solving by asking the basic questions. They call them the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. These are the questions that will start you on the process and help you along the way. Knowing your rights is very important. When self-advocating, it's vital to know what they are. Of course, you have your individual rights that you have just for being an American, but there are other sets of rights that may be specific to your circumstances. In a hospital, for example, there's a patient bill of rights. You have specific rights if you're getting legal aid. You may have other rights that are specific to your community, your ethnicity, income considerations. And there are specific rights you have as a victim of violent crime. So what does this mean? It means that what you are advocating for will determine what rights you need to know about. Your victim advocate will help you navigate this whole process and get you the information you need, but your part is to be actively involved with the process itself. Communication. Effective communication is the main tool you're going to use throughout this process. That may be in person, over the phone, a video chat, or through email. But what they all have in common is the need to communicate clearly, respectfully, and to make the most of the other person's time. In general, they're good listeners, but it's not always the right time to go into the whole story or too many details. Understand this. Trauma does things to the human brain. There's a big chemical and hormonal dump that happens to everyone that's experienced trauma. Trauma can be defined as something that overwhelms your capacity to cope with it. And it has specific symptoms that show up sometimes. Here's a list of symptoms, and any one of these maybe not tell the whole story, but if you start seeing these start to stick around for too long, take action. Talk to a friend, tell your advocate, just get somebody to help you through this, because these things will show up in your life. It can possibly get in the way and interfere with things. Before you have a meeting to advocate for yourself, or before you testify or go for a job interview, do some preparation. Not only will it make the meeting more productive, but you'll get a big confidence boost. Practice and role play. Write out 3 main points that you want to convey. Consider multiple options, what might happen, and anticipate what will happen and what might be your reaction. Are there good consequences for decisions you've made? Have you thought about the outcomes of your previous decisions, and has that changed your goals in some way? Based on the past, have you set new goals? You're responsible for your actions and your decisions, but make certain you know the difference between choices you have made and the terrible actions that were taken against you. Do not feel guilty about the bad behavior of other people. So to prepare for an important conversation or meeting, when advocating for your needs and wants, it's important to know the difference between the two. You need reliable transportation to get to work. You might want a Ferrari or a Cadillac, but we have to address one thing at a time. Part of preparation is relaxing, again with the deep breathing. Try it right now, it really helps. As full as you can get your lungs, and all the way empty. It creates positive changes in your whole body, and it can put you to a better place before your meeting ever starts. If your body is tense, odds are your speech will be tense also. And if you're anxious, you could forget important details or skip over things that you wanted to say, and deep breathing can help reduce those effects. Bring notes of what your needs actually are and what your goals are for the meeting. Write out a script if you need to. Practice communication with your friends, with family, with coworkers, intentional communication. And here's a great tip. Reflect back what they're saying. If you start getting a lot of information and it starts feeling a little overwhelming, you can ask anybody you want, can you hang on a second? Let me make sure I understand what you're saying to me. Let me make sure I get this. And reflect back what you heard. It's just a great way to avoid misunderstandings. That works in the other way. Can you do me a favor and let me know if I'm communicating well? Can you tell me what you just heard so that I can make sure I communicated properly? Great listening tools. Because being understood starts with listening. When you pay someone the respect of listening to them actively and intentionally, when it's your turn, you're more likely to get the respect that you need. Look them in the eye. Good communication is not only how you communicate, but making sure you're understood by the listener. So you might want to watch for body language clues that they're understanding you. Here's a list of body language cues and clues that can help you look for making sure that someone is fully engaged with you. And it's also a great list to go over to make sure that your body language that you're communicating non-verbally to the other party doesn't display aggression or anger or disinterest or anything that can interfere with the communication process. Talking about your story and what your needs are can cause you to be triggered or give you some degree of anxiety. We process different things in different parts of our brain. We have a rational, logical part of our brain and an emotional part. And it's way better to, of course, talk to somebody from your rational, decision-making part of your brain. So to get from the emotional to the rational part of the brain and get out of the emotional part, we have a toolkit that we would encourage you to use. I've got one here as an example, but I would love for you to make your own. And what it does is it stimulates as many of additional senses as possible. In other words, when you see something or smell or taste or hear or feel anything at all, you process that in different sections of your brain. And if you can do that, and do as many of those things simultaneously, that is what science tells us is a great way to de-emphasize the emotional triggers that you might be feeling and get back to that rational communicating part of your brain. So here's our little sensory stimulation kit. You can use sandpaper or, my favorite, bubble wrap. Once more, here you go. Ooh. That's our sense of feel and also our sense of hearing. Anything you hear, anything you feel stimulates that neuron activity in a separate section of your brain. So if you happen to be in a very emotional track and that's kind of taking over and driving the bus, you have a better chance by stimulating these senses as best you can to get back into the intellectual center of your brain. Here is a taste sensation, peppermint or whatever that is. Chocolate is another great taste sensation. It cures everything. That's my opinion, not science there. Smell. We have here a new car scent. You want to get some? Here, grab some. It's great, delicious. Where did you get a brand new 1976 Dodge Pinto? All right, we have this, a journal. It's something that you can do. There's some tactile sensations just by writing, but also journaling is helpful in and of itself. Here's the sandpaper that we talk about. And again, just picking it up forces your brain to do something besides stay in this emotionally stuck area. So by all means, create your own sensory stimulation kit. Try to do as many things at the same time as you can to get back into that rational area. Listen to music. Just look for a minute at your surroundings and maybe count trees if you're outside, or look at the grass, or look if you're inside at how many chairs, count the number of chairs. Anything that gets these senses stimulated. And we want to encourage you, as you're processing this, to be assertive without being aggressive. There are two different things. Assertive self-advocacy is clearly stating your needs and asking for help. Demands and threats and I'm not leaving your office until I get what I want, that not only doesn't help, it can actually move things backwards. And we encourage you to get organized. We have a contact log here that we made up for you, and we'll certainly be glad to send it to you if you want to sign up for the newsletter, but you'll need some sort of filing system, which agency you spoke with, who you spoke with, who at the agency did you talk to, write down contact information. There's a place for what you need to do next. You might have something like homework, what you need to bring, a documentation, or some paperwork you need to fill out. What is their next step? What can you expect them to do? And what can they expect you to do or to have or to bring to your next meeting? We hope you found this information to be helpful. Please make sure you've signed up for our newsletter, and we'll get you this contact log, and we'll also let you know when we finish more videos. We may email you a survey in the next few days. It'll just take a couple minutes to fill out, and it'll kind of help us keep helping people. Here's our team that created this video, as well as our source material if you'd like to dive more deeply and get some more reading information here. We wish you the absolute best in your future. Please take care of yourself.